Ever feel like you are your own worst enemy? You hold yourself back from achieving your goals, whether it's financial, weight, or relationship goals. Maybe you set a goal to eat healthier, but by nightfall, you find yourself reaching for that bag of chips. And without even realizing it, you've mindlessly polished off the entire bag, leaving you feeling guilty, ashamed, and frustrated with yourself. Or maybe you're stuck in a relationship that brings you more hurt than happiness. Yet you find yourself unable to let go of this person. You might be thinking, why am I sabotaging myself? In today's episode, Robert will address the truth about self-sabotage and what it really is. Welcome to another episode of the Robert Jean Experience, where the answers you've been searching for are found right here. I'm Crystal Dirksen, your co-host, alongside of Robert Jean. Robert is one of America's leading experts on stress, trauma, PTSD, addictions, and physical healing. And he is often seen as the last resort for those that have done everything and they don't know what else to do. Hi, Robert.
Hey, good to see you. Happy to share this great information, the saboteur within. What is that really? Is it a misnomer? What's the facts? Isn't that what you're looking for? So many people will buy a course and they want to heal their life, change their stuff, do the affirmations, but something just kicks in and won't let you do it. So
Yeah.
what is it?
And I have been looking forward to this episode, Robert, because you have a completely different perspective than what the mainstream thought is. It is unlike anything that people will hear in mainstream media.
And I think the big difference between what they do or know and what I know is miles apart, because they don't know how to change what the problem is. So they're going to try to strong arm it, try to make themselves overcome whatever this is. But this is an age-old problem. It's been going on for centuries. Back in the Bible, for example, although my system is not a Christian one, it's not anti-Christian either. It's just a factual system. But this is what Paul says: I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not. For what I hate to do, I do it, and I don't want to. I agree that the law is good, but it is no longer myself who do it, but it's sin living in me. Now, of course, if you understand the word sin, Jesus never used that word ever. He used a phrase: you're missing your mark, you're missing your potential. So if you take the word sin out and say, I agree, it is the programming within me that makes me do what I don't want to do. That's the fact. So
That's so good.
what is the programming? So we have been emotionally conditioned throughout our whole life. It is the conditionings beyond consciousness that drives our behaviors, and we do what we do because we're programmed to do this based on our life and conditions. So you want to lose weight, and I'm a weight loss expert. I know how it works. And you don't want to lose weight. You want to gain personal power and control. And of course, you're overweight. You want to lose weight. You want to get back down to a smaller size, and you're going to go to a system that doesn't work.
Right.
Dieting is the worst way to lose weight, because while you're on it, you lose. But when you come off of it, you go right back to the old programmings. So if weight were the problem, losing weight once, the problem solved forever. But that's not the problem. It's a symptom.
That's right. And nobody wants to lose anything.
Well, they like to lose weight, but they want to gain something else, feel better about themselves. But why does dieting not work? And of course, I read a book in the early days, back around 2001. And of course, I was giving presentations at a local church. And they want to lose weight. They go, well, weight's easy. You just lose weight. You just eat one burger instead of three. It's that simple. And so I read this book, said diets don't work. And again, it does work while you're on it. But when you come off of it, you go back to normalcy. You go back to your programmings. And they even did research where these individuals were anorexic and they can't gain weight. So they put them on a strict diet. And when they came off the diet, they all gained weight. So again, what is the system we're talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
So the system I'm talking about, there is no saboteur within you. There is none. There's a smart part about you, and then not so smart part consciously. That's the problem.
Exactly. Yes. So let's talk about the misconceptions before you give everyone the answers, because I want everyone, because most people, they have the mainstream thought or the idea, the label of what self-sabotage is. And some people believe, and so let me preface this by saying, when I'm saying main thought, these are influencers that have millions of followers. And so this is the main idea that, and this is the first misconception, that some people believe that self-sabotage is simply a lack of willpower and discipline. Maybe you need to do a 75 hard program and kick your butt. Is this a flawed perception that they need to try harder?
Yeah, the weird thing is too, I must not love myself enough because I keep going back to the problems. I must have low self-esteem. And the fact is, none of that's true. There's two parts of you that's extremely important. We have conscious awareness and we have unconscious programmings. Now, the smartest part about you is not what I'm talking to right now. Consciously, you're not that smart. The smartest part about you is the unconscious. And you think about it, the unconscious does so much. When I talk about the unconscious, we're talking about the limbic operating system. It knows how to run the whole show. It knows how to get you to the work without you thinking about it. You're putting your makeup on, you're eating your sandwich, and you're talking on the phone, and you get to work, you go, God, I don't know how I got here. That part of you knows how to do things without you consciously doing it. It's like when you write your name on a piece of paper, write out a check. Your unconscious knows how to write letters and put sentences together and make it work. Now, you're not consciously going back and say, okay, I'm in kindergarten and the letters on the chalkboard, this is what a T looks like and an R looks like. No, it's all driven by the unconscious. So the misnomer is that I'm sabotaging myself. There must be something wrong with me. There's a
Yes.
saboteur inside me. There's what to say. There's a saboteur inside me, and the truth is, the saboteur is the ignorant consciousness who doesn't know how to make friends with the smarter part about ourselves, which is our unconsciousness. So why is it you want to lose weight but you can't? Why is it you want a better relationship but you keep picking the same wrong person over and over again? Why is it that you're sick and you've always been sick your whole life? What is the intention behind it? Why is the unconscious or the limbic operating system still keeping us in alignment with the programmings? And the reason is it's very simple. It's survival. It's doing what you're trained to do because it's safer to stay in alignment than to come out of the alignment. And there's a lot of beliefs behind this. So,
Mhm.
so the key to the unconscious is that it's smarter than you consciously. I mean, it does a lot of tasks all at one time. A lot. It can pay attention to stuff that you didn't even know happened. And later on it pops in your head. So the saboteur is really consciousness. It's not unconsciousness. The problem is we don't like what we've been programmed to do, but you don't know how to change the programs. That's the key. How do you change the programs? Now, any one of these individuals who tell you about the saboteur within, they probably don't know how to change the programs. And they're going to tell you to be strong, force
Yeah.
yourself, love yourself more, and then just do it. Well, there's something inside, and you know it is. There's something inside that goes, I can't do it. I'm scared. I'll rather be sick than get out and do it.
When you're talking, it feels like there's so much freedom in what you're saying, because I felt so broken, like there was something wrong with me for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want other people to really get that you're not broken.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain is working correctly, your unconscious mind is working correctly. So what you're saying is there is no such thing as self-sabotage.
Now, again, you have to understand. Let's go back to the very beginning of your life.
Okay.
Every one of you. All right. You're born into an environment. And that environment will educate you on who you are, what your role in the family is. It even helps create an identity. It also creates trainings on how you should act and perform in the family and outside the family. So if you come from a very crazy mother or father or whole family, if they're workaholics, alcoholics, drug addicts, abusers, manipulators, guess what that little child's going to learn? How to survive.
Mhm.
If they talk bad about you and if you come home and you make straight A's except a B plus because it was a few points off, you're not going to say, God, great job. They're going to say, what's this here? A B plus. Then you feel like you're not good enough. So they find fault with you, and here it is. You won an award. You're really good, and mom says you need to stop being so smart. You're hurting your sister's feelings. And by the way, you stop looking so pretty. You're hurting your other sister's feelings. So they're now training you to put yourself down. So anytime you want to go out and you want to be something, do something, this programming says, then you think it's a saboteur within. It's not the saboteur, it's emotional conditioning trainings. The number one fear in the world. It is trained throughout every school and every university, mainly grade schools and churches. The number one fear that is trained in school is fear of public speaking. They
Yes.
train you to be quiet. You think about it, you got a teacher got 20 kids in there. They've got to use some kind of manipulation to keep those kids quiet. Fear and intimidation. And then if you do talk, they're going to send you, how many of you guys get a homework assignment? I will not talk in class and write 1,000 times. That is training to keep your mouth shut and to have fear of public speaking. And then you want to speak publicly, you want to do something publicly, and somehow you're sabotaging that. You're not sabotaging. The unconscious is trying to keep you safe based on your trainings. So the truth is, it is the emotional conditions and conditionings that you call self-sabotage. It's not sabotage to the unconscious. It is survival trainings, right? So now we got two worlds. Consciously, I want this. The unconscious says, no way in hell you're going to do that. We know it's not safe because we know what happened last time. So that's
Yeah.
how it works. The saboteur is really ignorance of what the brain, how it operates, and not making friends with your unconscious. And you don't even know how it works.
So we're not broken. We've just downloaded a whole bunch of programs, our environment, and we are continuing to download our environment. Is that right?
Well, not necessarily download. You learn from the experiences. It's not like a download. It's like your parents trained you to do this. It's emotional conditionings.
It's conditioning. That's what you're saying. I like the term download, but conditioning, I get it. Yes.
Download seems like it's some mystical thing coming from somewhere outside of us.
Yes, and it might be.
And I don't believe in that shit.
I know. Oh, that's so much fun. All right. So our brain, it knows how to self-protect. That's what
Yeah.
it does. Okay.
Yes. And it's keeping you in alignment with your trainings.
Right.
And
Right.
one of the things what we teach, when you get it physically down, it's down. You got it. So again, when you're emotionally conditioned over and over again, you're going to respond naturally. If you raised up in a family that working is smart, and if you don't work, you get hurt. Next thing you know, you got a parent who's always working. You're going to be a worker just like them because you learn how to survive in that environment and you're mimicking what you've learned.
Yes.
So we learn from our environment to teach us what we are to do in our life. And for you to break the rules, that's when your unconscious starts screaming at you. It'll be a panic attack. It'll beat you up. It'll belittle you because you're trying to violate the emotional conditions and trainings of your culture, your family, and your internal values that you've learned.
I want to touch on that panic attack for a moment because lots of people feel that, and many people don't even know they have anxiety until later on where they start having panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
That is the body's way of communicating that there's
Mm-hmm.
something going on. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. Again, you have to understand panic attacks to the unconscious is a good thing. It's keeping you safe.
Wow.
Is trying to protect you. There's a woman, her name is Marie Burrows. She has passed since then, but I remember walking into the training, into a seminar. I think it was mine. She was sitting there at the desk, and I saw her. She had beads of sweat across her forehead. She had a wig on, and she had these eyelashes, fake eyelashes. And of course, her makeup was she's a heavy woman, and so she had bright red lipstick. And I just noticed her, with her little walker next to her. And then I'm doing my presentations. And so one day, not later, she calls me and said, "Hey, I can't. I feel like I'm having a heart attack in the parking lot. I can't seem to go to the meetings anymore." And I said, "Well, a heart attack. So what do you mean?" He said, "Well, my heart's racing. I'm really anxious and just can't go into the training." I said, "Well, won't we just book a session with you?" So she booked a session, and sure enough, she didn't show up. So I called her and said, "Hey, Maria, are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm having those things again. I can't go." I said, "Well, all right, let's just book you another session, and I'll see you next time." So the next time she broke the session again. I said, "Marie," I said, "Hey, listen, I got people waiting in line. I said, won't you have a friend take you?" All right. So now she's in the session. And of course, she said something because, I was raised Christian. I was around Christian people. And of course, I started hanging around the metaphysical people and I started learning a lot of interesting things from these guys, really entertaining for sure. And so she said something like this: "I'm a light giver." And I go, "Oh boy, what is this about?" So I said, "Well, what does that mean, Marie?" She says, "Well, if I go to someone's house and they have a lamp that doesn't have a nice shade on, I'll give them a nice shade. Or I go and I will fix lights." And then she said, "I have this, I don't know what it is." She says, "I feel like I'm allergic to lights too, like fluorescent lights especially. I get panic attacks." And I go, "Really?" I said, "Really? Okay." So I give him a good intake and I said, "Okay, so panic attacks." Now you think about it, she wants to go to these trainings, but she can't. She's having these anxiety. And so, of course, I think the brain's trying to protect her, which it is. And I said, "Okay, so let's do a little intake." And come to find out, we cleared out some really big, massive. She's almost trampled in a theater one time. And then she said, "Your light above your desk is really bothering me." And I said, "Well, 0, I don't feel it. 10 is really strong. How strong?" She says, "Like a 7." So I took the lamp and I just faced it more towards her. And then I went ahead, turned the lamp on next to her, bright, and I turned the bright lights. I said, "How strong is it now?" She said, "A 10." I said, "Close your eyes. Feel this feeling for the last time." And I started using my process. And I said, "Marie, if anything shows up, let me know." She goes, "Oh, I got something." I said, "What is it?" She says, "When I was a kid, I wet the bed a lot. And what they did, they wouldn't let me have water, but they let me go to the bathroom. And so while I'm in the bathroom, I'm sneaking a drink. And when I'm drinking the water, I'm seeing the light above the sink." And I said, and we worked on a little bit on that. I said, "Oh, I got another memory." I said, "What is it?" She goes, "My mom wakes me up by dragging me by the hair and running me into the bathroom and beat me with a brush. And when she's beating me, I'm looking at the light."
Yeah.
And then she said, "Oh, another memory." I said, "What is it?" She said, "My uncle's doing things to my body he shouldn't be doing, and I'm looking at the light." She says, "I sell real estate, and there's just one house I can't even go in. I think there's evil spirits. I sit outside while they go in." And so I worked on that. It's come to find out it wasn't an evil spirits, it was the lights that triggered her anxiety. Now I got chills going through me because I cleaned that up. Now she's in the seminars, and I get an angry man on the phone. It's Marie's husband. He goes, "Marie is not coming home at night. She's out spending time shopping," because she hadn't been able to do that for years. These are true. This is absolutely true story.
Wow, the
So
freedom.
was panic attacks trying to hurt her or protect her?
Mm,
Was it trying to sabotage her or keep her alive?
mm.
It's trying to keep her safe. There is no saboteur within, but the saboteur is ignorance and not knowing how our brain works. And how do you change the programming? That's the $1 million question. Now, you can go to Joe Dispenza and they say, "Don't look at the past, meditate, vegetate." You go to Gupta or DNRS or any of these other ones, they don't go to the bad memories because they don't know how to change it. So they say, ignore the programming that drives you. Be strong. Eat the frog anyway. That doesn't work. But when you go and you address the cause, which is basically memories and experiences.
Mhm.
Now, I'm an expert at changing that. I help people change bad memories all the time. I can do it in 10 minutes or 3 minutes. Depends on how big it is. Memories are very malleable, very adjustable. As a matter of fact, you take some of your good memories and make them bad. You take your bad memories and make it worse. The real magic is taking a bad memory and turn it into gold, where it becomes you drive your life differently. And that's what I teach, how to get control of yourself. And of course, you've heard all the sages and all the spiritual teachers, know thyself. What the hell does that mean? Know thyself. This is my driver's license. That's my birth certificate. This is where I live. No, no, no. Know how to change what's within you. Make peace with your memories and your past. If you have no skills, you'll never get it done. If you have a spoon, you got a spoon, you got to dig a ditch 40 feet long, and all you got is a spoon, it's going to take you forever.
That's true.
Maybe never.
Right.
But the point is, when you have a power tool called neuroplasticity, eutaptics, faster T, you can change memories very quickly, and you get to keep the results, but you get the wisdom too. You're smarter than what you could have been. Because the crazy thing is, people are running from their insides. Somebody said, I'd rather you beat me with a stick than to taunt me within my mind. And that's why people are still ill. That's why people, they keep saying the brain is the devil's den. Just don't venture in, And that's really kind of crazy. You think about it. And if your brain is your enemy, you are living in a divided house, and the house will fall. So that's why you need to make peace with your unconsciousness, and that's what I teach. So there is truly no saboteur within. Consciousness is not smart enough to know how to change what's inside. And that's what I do.
Yes. Yeah. And speaking of the tools, you're talking about the spoon versus the power tools, which truly is what you teach people. You give them the skills.
Yeah.
The second misconception I wanted to address with you, I wanted you to address, is the mainstream thought. And once again, this is mainstream, millions of followers this person has. This is what she said. Start working on your self-awareness. That is key to overcoming self-sabotage. Your sabotage will lessen over time. Is that true?
Well, again, know thyself. What the hell does that mean that she's talking about? How do you know yourself? That's what. So again, depends on what they're using to go to know yourself.
I'm going to give you a little bit more context. It would be like, so one of the things that I noticed about myself is if I'm avoiding a project in my office, I will be out there cleaning my house. I love a clean house, but I know, and that's where the self-awareness comes in, where I'm aware that I'm cleaning my house and I'm not in the office. So will the self-sabotage lessen?
No. Let's say, all right, so that's like procrastinating, right?
Right.
All right, so what is the purpose of procrastination? It's super simple. I want to avoid my pain. I want to avoid the discomfort. So you procrastinate because you want to be safe. There was a guy he says, I don't know why I always procrastinate paying my bills. I said, do you have money? He said, of course, I got plenty of money. I have a great job, but I don't know why I keep sabotaging or procrastinating, not paying my bills. I said, well, let's just do a little detective work. Because again, procrastination, you don't have it. You can't show it to me. You can't weigh it. You can't eat it. It's something you do. It's a process. It's a processing of information. And I said, okay, so tell me about paying bills. You ever had problems paying bills? Any money issues growing up? I said, oh yeah. Mom and dad would fight at night all the time with her spending money on credit cards to get them in debt. So fighting about money. And of course, he's complaining about he has to pay the bill, right? And then he said, yeah, when I was in college, my dad said he's going to, pay for my college. And sure enough, he didn't. He lied. So I had to get a job to pay my bills. And he said, even times I would write the gas bill and send it to the electric company, send the electric company to the gas bill. So it gives me time to put money in the bank. So high anxiety. And then again, he gets married. He's having the same emotional issue with his wife that his dad had with his wife. And so it's the money issue. And so basically what has happened is you ring the bell, you feed the dog, you ring the bell, you feed the dog. The anxiety and trauma have been linked to paying bills. So even though he has money, his emotions are keeping him from doing what he needs to do. So again, like with you, there's a reason why you don't want to do it. There could be stress, it could be anxiety, it could be, who knows what it could be that drives you to keep you from doing what you said you want to do. Now, the key is not just being aware of it, because being aware of it says, yep, see, I'm screwed up. I got a problem. I'm going to have to live with this the rest of my life. You're going to go get a book, get a tattoo, and then you say, I'm a procrastinator, professional procrastinator, right? And I
Yeah.
always say, if you procrastinate, put procrastination off and get shit done, move on. But the reason behind procrastination is your brain is trying to keep you safe based on something that your brain deems as discomfort. Now,
Okay.
the key is to go back and change what it is. So I went and I helped him change the memories that drove his procrastination, and then we turn on the feel goods that he's getting stuff done. Now he just pays the bills, no problem. It's not even a second thought.
Yeah.
So
So
it's everything's driven by emotions and programs.
So what's the difference then between self-sabotage, or maybe we need to even define how would, if a student came
It's the
to you,
same. It's the same system, really.
it's the
It's the
same
same
thing.
thing. It's the same. You're
So,
procrastinating. You're not, because see, you consciously know you need to get it done,
yes.
but something inside you says, "Nah, let's go clean house. Let's go eat something. Let's do something else." And you can call that sabotaging your great interests. But procrastination is a program. The saboteur is within yourself. It's your thinking process. It's not the brain. The brain is the smart part about you. So the saboteur is your thinking. You don't understand what your brain is doing. Therefore, you think you're cursed and you're bad, you're broken, and something's wrong. So procrastination, you put it off because you're avoiding for a reason. And so you want to figure out what that reason is and clean it up.
Got it. Okay. So then is there if a student came to you, how would you explain that to them, like the difference? Because you're saying it's the same thing and really it's all the saboteur within.
It's just a program. There is no saboteur within. It's just programming. Well, the saboteur within is just programming. It's not even a saboteur. There's no
Right.
saboteur.
Okay, so then like if we're, because you're putting this message out there, your perception is so different. How would you redefine it? Like for people that are talking about self-sabotage, how would you define it?
Well, again, first of all, it's not self-sabotage, it's self-protection. Your brain
Okay,
is protecting itself based on the references of your past.
okay. So you would call it self-protection
Yeah,
or
yeah,
coping mechanisms,
yeah. Survival system, the survival programming.
survival programming.
Yeah.
All right.
And by the way, the programming has been installed and it has a lot of emotional juice and proof to keep you from doing it. You know?
Yeah.
Like again, the woman said, I just don't understand why I put everybody else first and I'm the last one. And I'm sabotaging myself. I said, well, we go back again. We go, well, where do you see it at? And again, I mentioned her earlier. Her mother scolds her for looking too pretty, hurting her sister's feelings, and being too smart, hurting her brother's feelings. So at that point, she's programming her daughter to put yourself down to please other people. You're
Mm,
second best citizen. Now, again,
yes.
a lot of women are done that way through their family and their culture. A lot of men are done the same way. So it's conditionings and conditions, and it's so emotionally ingrained, it takes a real expert to change that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really the key, is to change the programming.
Hmm.
And you
Definitely.
have the tools to do that.
I have the know-how, and you can learn it too. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at, for example, I said big problem, no pun intended, is weight loss. So you think about it, weight is not a problem; it's a symptom.
Yes.
Okay, so why is it that you are putting on weight and you can't take it off? There's a million different reasons. First of all, emotional training at the table. Clean your plate. People in China are starving to death. So you're emotionally conditioned to clean your plate. Secondly, you're a good little girl, you're a good little boy, you get dessert. That's another emotional conditioning. Everybody else is eating, you need to eat too. You're looking too pretty, and if you look too pretty, men will find you attractive and they want to have sex with you. So when you start losing weight, I've heard a million times, I start losing weight looking really good, and somebody notices me, it scares me, and I put all the weight back on. So when you're sad, when you're lonely, and you need a pick me up, a boost, you're going to find yourself in the cupboard eating something. When you're again, so food becomes a coping mechanism or escape mechanism from reality. So there's a million different reasons. Now, no diet will ever solve any of this stuff. No exercise program will never fix this. But changing the memory references will solve the battle of weight loss forever. But again, we have coping mechanisms designed from our life from eating and not eating. I mean, and it doesn't help you either when you got all these foods in America that have laced with all kinds of toxins that make you addictive, and it makes you fat. It destroys your health too. So, I do have a, weight loss training where it says, hey, no dieting allowed. We do not diet. We only eat food that we deem as healthy, positive, and good. We only eat when we're hungry. We only eat when the body says we're done. You know how to stop eating. You know when to start eating, and your value as a person will go up because you're now in control. And food never will ever, ever, ever love you. There's no love in food, and you're getting a love fix because you're emotionally conditioned that. People who are usually overweight, they love food. All right. Now that's a problem. People who are drug addicts love drugs, so there's a problem. So you got to get the love out of it and then put food back where it belongs. But it's such a cultural training. So again, I've seen so many people who did the drugs. They took the pill, the whatever magical pill it is. It sucks fat out, and then they do it for a while. They start having health problems. They go back off of it. They put all the weight back on, and then they beat themselves up. Says, "I must be genetically screwed up. I must have a fat gene, or I must have a stupid gene, or I must have a saboteur within."
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
this is, and of course, that you can be obsessively compulsive, working out 24 hours a day, continuously on a diet or on food, your whole life revolves around food. That's no life. So
Right.
we just change the system. So if you want to lose weight, try my system. It'll work for you.
Yes. Yeah.
But you'll find the battle when you get to the point that you're saying, but I don't want to let go of the love in
Mm,
this food because it's not the food. But
yeah.
that's where the toughness is. It's really taking emotional control of your life. And the side effects of doing the system, you'll lose weight without trying.
Right.
You'll be able to address your emotional stressors, which drive you to eat when you're not hungry. Your self-esteem will go up. You'll look better, feel better, and act better. And your
Yeah.
power comes from you. And that's all my system will produce that.
So then do you have to have awareness of like the saboteur within or the symptoms of self-sabotage, like the common signs of it? Do you?
Again, you're using the word self-sabotage.
Yeah.
I would say the programming, you're using the programs within. You just notice the programming. You
Right.
know,
So what if you're so conditioned, like you're conditioned all your life? You don't even, let's say you act like a zombie and you don't even know it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how does that work?
Well, first of all, you got to spend time with someone who knows what they're talking about and start being aware and take
Yes.
notice of what's going on in your life. I mean,
Yes.
some people listen to me here. They go, "Well, that makes sense," but again, this is an eye opener, and some people say, "Okay, that does logically make sense." Now, again, you think about it. Even Paul had the same problem, and that's because we're dealing with unconscious programmings. And if you don't know how to change the memories, you will never change the problem. It's something you always fight with. We have people come to me severely ill, like really ill, like diagnoses that are blood tested there, and they take my system, they use it, and the blood test is gone. Lupus and Hashimoto's disease, fibromyalgia, ME, lupus, POTS disease, you name all kinds of pains. This system will address the mind, which holds the key that affects the body. So yeah, so this knowing how to change your brain and taking ownership of your head is the key. It really is. Relationships is another big program. I would say 98% of all of our problems start with a relationship with somebody or something. And relationships play a major role in you idea that you're screwed up and you're broken. Now, I have a tendency to attract black sheep. That means these are the family members that are the ones that actually don't fit in the family. It's like I feel like the stork dropped me off at the wrong house, the wrong neighborhood, and the wrong freaking planet. I don't even feel like I belong here. And then they say, well, I'm the one that they blamed, they picked on, I'm the outsider. I see this all the time because it is us, the black sheep, who will outgrow the family traditions and the emotional
Yes.
conditions.
I love that. Okay. Yes. And you have a free webinar coming up called Overcoming Narcissistic Patterns. And can you talk a little bit more about the narcissistic patterns? Because what if someone is stuck in a relationship and they don't let it go? They won't let that relationship go. They're stuck in these patterns.
Yeah. Well, there's also a misnomer about narcissism. Psychologists say every child is born narcissistic. Now, I had to figure out what is narcissism. If you want to break it down to a simple one sentence, my way is the right way, and I think you should do it my way. Right? Now, again, that is the simple narcissistic mentality. Now, you look at a little boy or little girl growing up, and they can be very jealous of a sibling that's just born, and they think they have the right to get what they want. They're angry and they will abuse the other siblings. Again, you look at the whole operating system of parenthood. Parenthood, when you're a parent, you have the sole responsibility to raise this child up to be like you deem possible, the way you think they should. And so what they're going to do is they're going to share their programming that they got as a child. And if they come from an abusive, harsh environment, they're going to have a tendency to share that with that child. And then, of course, that child is going to learn how to survive that. So anyone who's been in a narcissistic, now, by the way, let me just say this. In my world, everyone has narcissism. There is a healthy narcissist. Look it up on the internet. It's actually a normal person. We should be. But there are abusive ones. And abusive ones want what they want, and they don't care what you think. Now, again, it goes back to my definition. I want what I want, and I have the right to get what I want. And if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to help you give it to me. Now, there are really cold-hearted ones. There are very abusive ones. They are really, I mean, because they earned that, they learned that from where they come from. Now, if you're in a relationship with one of these individuals, you're in for one hell of a ride. I'm telling you. I personally have experienced it a few times, and I really never studied this stuff until just recently. And I really got down and said, shit, this is really interesting. And the weird thing, these individuals who do what they do, they don't go down to the library on how to do this. It is an innate, built-in system for survival.
Mhm.
And you got people coming from Eastern Europe, you got people coming from these war-torn countries. Dog eat dog, you got to survive. You're going to find narcissism rampant, especially the abusive types, because they have to stay alive. And of course, that's just how this operating system. So
Yes.
the key for you, if you're in an experience with this, say you're a child and you have a parent who's that way, you develop skills to live that way. So now we got a glove and we got the other person. You're going to fit that relationship because you know how to survive it because you came from it. You know how to
Yes.
operate within it. And so therefore you say, why do I keep picking the same type of person? I said, because you're familiar with it.
Mm.
And you got to change your familiarities. You got to release the pain of that one and the pain of this one, which means the victim and the victimizer, you got to come in and create a harmony within yourself. So you keep the lesson and never repeat the pattern again.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so now that we're talking about narcissism, there is another psychologist that I've listened to, and she said once you're a narcissist, there's no, like, you're stuck with it. Like, you're born that way, you're going to stay that way. Is that true?
Well, you are born a narcissist, you'll die a narcissist.
Based on,
This is
based
because again, remember it's based on your point of view. No, everybody's a narcissist. Some are nice ones and some are not so nice ones. But let's
okay.
say, for example, you have to understand you've got a child who's been taunted and tormented by her father or her mother. This is emotional training for survival. As a matter of fact, not only did they abuse you, but you learned tactics from them, and you're going to take these tactics and you're going to go to your next relationship, to this relationship, and you're going to use your trainings. Now, to them, this is not bad. There's nothing wrong with this because it kept me alive. It helped me survive.
Mhm.
So, only time you and anyone listening to this call want something better, you have to get to the point that the pain is greater than the outcome and what you're producing. You have to figure out that I'm tired of this. I've got to do something to change it, and it could change.
Right.
unless you're too scared and
Right.
you'd rather just do what you're familiar with and just
Yes.
suffer the consequences.
Yeah. And people will over time, they will stay in those relationships because it is comfortable. It's the known hell
Well,
versus
yeah, yeah,
unknown heaven.
it's familiar. Let's just say it's
Yeah.
familiar.
It's familiar.
It's
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, now there's a lot of people who will uh, I mean, I've seen so many like people. I mean, this is say I'm just use your example. I don't know if it's really you, but say you're a really nice girl, a really raised up with a nice, kind, loving family, you know, and then you had a grandfather or a dad with beautiful blue eyes, and he's had a nice, gentle behavior. And so you're out there in the dating world, and you meet this guy. He's got blue eyes, and he seems to have a nice, calm voice, and you're attracted to this guy because he kind of resembles your history. Nice dad. And then you start dating this guy, and all of a sudden he flips and he shows on some of his aggressive, unhealthy behaviors. Now you're being exposed to a world that you never knew existed. And the sad thing is, you're pregnant. And the sad thing is, you're holding up to your religious trainings that you're married, you're going to stay married for the rest of your life. Now, this guy is really running you through hell. So now you're being conditioned and trained in an environment that you're going to have to learn to live with and deal with, or figure out how to get the hell out. So again, now you're being exposed to something you didn't know existed. And the bad thing is, you're also learning how to have that problem too, because you're exposed to this. And there may be some thrill to this type of personality at the beginning, but when it gets to be the bad parts, it really is bad. So there's a lot of elements to this. And again, you have to understand there are, like I said, there's the glove that fits. And so an abuser or a extreme narcissistic type who likes to take, they like people who are sweet like you because they get what they want.
Right.
And when they're
Yes.
done with you, they kick you to the curb, and they'll taunt you and they'll torment you. They'll talk bad about you. They'll blame you, even though you're the innocent one, because again, they're a professional victim as well. You did
Yeah.
it to them. So I see this all the time. It's a very bizarre pattern.
Yes. And your level one mentoring program, your calls, your training,
Mhm.
that is where people, they have someone to talk it out with. You are there mentoring them. They're not alone. They're not going through this alone,
Yeah.
and you give them the tools. And so what
Right.
else do you see in your level one mentoring
Right.
program?
So you talk about my level one, you can change yourself training. Is that what you're talking
Right.
about?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I have a training sub, you can change yourself, level one. Basically, it teaches you the mechanics of the mind. It shows you how to go inside yourself and clean up the stuff that needs to be cleaned up. So everybody needs to know how to change themselves. And that's when I say, know thyself, know what you do within yourself, and change what you have within yourself. So, but yeah, everybody needs this, and it's a $10,000 course easily. It's not 10,000 on my core on my website.
It's a 20K course, Robert. It's so good.
It is definitely good.
Plus,
It'll change your life. It'll heal you in all kinds of ways.
and plus there's those mentoring calls where I see the connection. I see people being healed right in front of my eyes, people that have
Oh
been
yeah.
suffering for a very long time.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's worth, I mean, really, you can't put a price on the amount of
Oh yeah.
life-giving transformation that you are
Yeah.
helping people with.
Yeah. I worked with a guy the other day. I mean, he's in his late 60s, and this happened to him when he was like 5 years old. 5 years old, this trauma, and he was still crying in his late 60s. 65 years later, it's still alive. In less than 15 minutes, he can't make it bother and say it's over.
That's incredible.
People are carrying these internal wounds, and it dictates their behavior and their health and their relationships. And it could take I say simple, one session, and you'll change your life. I do sessions, they're $600 for 2 hours. It's 50% off currently. And we can change some of the worst stuff you've ever could imagine. And
Yes.
and when it's done, you know it happened, but it's not true anymore. It's over. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel real, it doesn't act real, it doesn't seem real.
Yeah. And what do you want to say to those people that are listening and they've been thinking about taking your course for a long time, but they haven't?
Just just get off the pot and do it. Stop
Yeah.
just stop wasting your time. You
Yes.
know,
But there's a
you're
reason.
not getting any younger, and the older you get, the bigger it gets in your life, the worse it gets. So, I mean, it's a decision we all get to make. And
Yeah.
again, if you're scared to make it, just do it. Um, I mean, it's up to you. Everybody has a right to be miserable, and everybody has a right to die in a miserable way or in a happy way, you know.
Yes.
So
So
it's just like Dottie. Dottie said, "I cannot believe I did a few sessions with her, and I've been watching you," she said, "since 2007. And I cannot believe the changes you have made in 2 sessions. My life is totally different." Two
incredible.
sessions. She said, "I wish I would have done it 2007."
Yes, I agree with her.
But,
Absolutely.
but you're just wasting your life. You're wasting time, not wasting time suffering. And the reason why you suffer is because you're used to it. You know,
Yes. It's
it's not
familiar.
a good, yeah.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
No, the only thing I could probably say, guys, is just remember, um, your brain is doing its job to keep you safe, but it's based on some unpleasant experiences. Your job consciously is to figure out how to make peace with what's inside you. I believe that your brain is a temple. If you got pigs in there, you probably got shit everywhere, and you're living a life of a shitty life. I think it's your job to clean up what's inside. Yeah, I know it's over, but it still dictates you. It still affects you. When that man in his 60s looks at an event that happened to him at 5 and it feels like it's real today, that's no way to live. Learn how to be free from your past. Learn the lessons, build a better future, and be healthy and create something better today. So I always say, learn to love yourself, like yourself from within yourself. Because whatever you do up here, you do to other people. So just be nice with you first and share the niceness everywhere you go.
Yes. And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in to this episode of the Robert Jean Experience. And don't forget to sign up for Robert's free online course and stay tuned to our next episode.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.